Hey everybody, how are you doing? I wanted to talk about a couple of things here. At Traffic and Conversion at the conference that we were all just at last week, we saw this lady speak, Rachel Hollis. Her book, Girl, Wash Your Face. I'd never heard of it before. It says #1 New York Times bestseller. Apparently she helps women with believing in themselves kind of thing. She was really, I loved her. She's so good. And her message was something like everything, single thing that she said there on stage is something that I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to say. That's exactly what I want my message to be. By the way, you can see my suitcase over there. I'm flying to Denmark later tonight to work with my mentor, Bengt Valentino Anderson from Body SDS. And so actually that dovetails nicely because one of the things that you talked about was you have to be the person that you have to be ready for the things that you want. She told the story of this book that she wrote, and she was a wedding planner, and she wrote a book about like these planning weddings, like a novel with names changed and stuff. And then she shopped it around. She found this lit agent who said like, yeah, I can sell it easily. And then shops it around to all these publishers and they all reject it. And then one of them goes and says, oh, could you add some sex to it? And then she was like, no. It ends up self-publishing it, and it ends up being a sleeper hit. And her point was that one of the reasons why it succeeded was that it didn't have sex. Everything else had sex. Hers didn't. Hers was the sweet one. And also, she was like, so were these publishers wrong to reject her? He was like, no, she wasn't ready. She wasn't ready for it. And that was the message that stuck with me. It seems like 10 years ago when I started being part of this internet marketing community, I went to a bunch of conferences and bought a bunch of products and really immersed myself into it and started teaching it. I saw this potential for changing that world by adding this like piece of this, I call it spirituality, but I also say spirituality done right is just reality. It's really about that, like being the person instead of trying to get the results. Like be the person that gets the result. Don't try to cheat your way to it or like hack your way to it. Strategies and tactics are fine, right? But ultimately it's about being that person. There's a saying of like, fake it till you make it, right? Which tends to just make it faking a habit. So this morning I woke up to pretty shocking news. So there's this name Brandon Stapper, who I didn't really know, but I did meet him last Sunday in person. So like a little over a week ago, because he organized a ride on a cruise ship, like 5 hours on the San Diego Bay on this like luxurious private yacht. And I brought the team along as like a little outing for the team and nice little perk and benefit. Well, turns out that Brandon got killed yesterday in a helicopter crash in Kenya, which seems, I don't really know the guy, but we did spend like, yeah, we were the first people there before Brandon even arrived and could get us on board. And we did spend some time hanging out and talking to him, and he seemed like a cool dude, smart, and now he's dead. It's like one of those things where you're like, OMG. It's kind of on brand for him to die that way, because he organized that ride. He organized it. Like, there was a helipad on this yacht, and so he arranged a helicopter that would fly people on like these tours and all that. So it seems like if you gotta go, that's definitely an on-brand way to go. But it makes you think, right? Like, what is his life? What are we doing with it? Are we doing things that matter? Are we doing things that matter to us, like that have meaning and value to us? Or are we on this treadmill trying to gain more followers or make more money and prove ourselves to our moms and dads or friends or whatever the hell it is, right? Who cares about all that stuff? Who cares about how much money you make? Who gives a shit how much money you make? Really, right? Who gives a shit? I don't give a fuck how much money you make. I give a fuck what you're doing with your life, and not in some like comparative way. Oh my God, you're like Mother Teresa, and you're like, no, who are you being? It's not the action, it's not the outward. I don't want social like virtue signaling. Oh, look how good I am. I help all the old ladies over the road. Like, crap. Who are you being inside of yourself? That's what I care about. What kind of person are you being? And where are you coming from? Like, we're all starting in different places, right? So what are you doing with the hand that you've been dealt? With the cards that you've been dealt on your hand? What are you doing with it to just be a better person? Be a better person, not to prove it to anyone, but just for you. That's what I care about, for you, right? And I think that's the way that we make any kind of change. Gandhi says, be the change you want to see in the world, right? Joseph Campbell said, bliss, follow your bliss. In that like Power of Myth series, he was like, it's explicitly saying the way that you make the world a better place is by being in your bliss. By being in bliss, then you will automatically, just by virtue of how you're being, you're going to have a positive impact on the world. Like, nothing's worse than these people who actually kind of feel like crap inside, and they're so busy fixing other people's problems, right? Oh, I feel bad, so now I need to like be your therapist, or make you meditate, or make you do yoga, or heal the world in some way. Like, that's useless. It's bad. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Work on your own bliss. And then literally everything else is going to follow from that. Like, your relationships are going to be good when you're coming from that place. Customers are going to like you. You're going to have a positive impact on people. A real positive impact on people. Not just like, oh, now there's a tactic or strategy to make more money and all, or get more followers and all that crap. Again, who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? Be the person. Be ready for the things. I believe that we're here to have all the things that we want in life. All the toys and money and all these things. Yes. But it starts with being the person, not with trying to get the things. That's backwards ass. You be the person inside, and then it comes to you naturally, because it's easy, because that is natural. So that's really my takeaway. And in that process, like, stop listening to all these other people. Listen to yourself. Listen to yourself. Listen to that quiet inner voice. So I recently quit alcohol, about like 5-6 weeks ago, completely, and for good. And I loved alcohol. I counted it. I have 117 bottles of liquor in my kitchen. And because I got really into mixology and like all these esoteric like liqueurs and all this various stuff, and like mixing them and doing all these things. So now I'm having to figure out how to get rid of that shit. Like, I have specialty glassware and the shakers and like all the gear, of course, that I now need to get rid of. What was my point with that? My point was, I forget what my point was. Like, thinking for yourself was the point I was working on. But like the like society has like, oh, alcohol is normal. Like, you don't have to buy into that stuff. I really have no idea right now what the point was. That wasn't my point. I know that was my point with that. But yeah, like here's my point. That the voice inside, I knew for years, for at least a couple of years, that I had to quit alcohol completely. And that was the right thing for me, because it just affected my thinking too much and my just, too many things. And I was like, maybe not. I'm not sure. Like, but I knew that was going to be the path for me. Just like eliminate it completely, not like sometimes, and not like on the weekends or special occasions and all that. Right. But it was a process for me to get there, to be ready for that, right? So, but your inner voice knows it. So I'm reading this book it's called A Big Fat Surprise, about how we've been lied to about fat, and how, like, that vegetable oils are better, and like, you know, what is it? Saturated fats are bad and all that crap, right? Which is bullshit. It's just not true. But we've been told that consistently. And it seems to me that there's a lot of people in that world who were saying that, who kind of knew it wasn't true, but they were overriding their inner voice. They were overriding what they knew to be true inside, right? And so that's the thing I want you to never, ever do again. Whenever you feel that voice inside that says, oh, I know I need to quit alcohol. I know what I'm doing here is wrong. Like Brandon, the guy who just got killed in a helicopter crash in Kenya, he said this thing like, I bet you like half the people on this boat right now. So he sold tickets, like it was $575 a person to be on this boat. I think he sold like 65, you know, seats on it. There's like drinks and people got, you know, pretty drunk and food and all that stuff. And you got to hang out on the boat for a while. Right. And he said, I bet you like half the people on board this boat right now, they're all internet marketers, are standing there with like doing that like lifestyle video on Instagram that says like, oh, look at me. And yeah, I'm here on my private yacht because I make so much money from all that. And like it's baloney, obviously. It's complete bullshit, right? And we don't believe in it. Like, I don't have a private yacht. I got to go on a private yacht. I got to bring the boys, and we just paid $575 a person, which is, a significant chunk of money, but it's not like I own the boat or it's mine or I rented the whole thing for a week or anything like that, right? I mean, it's just anybody can do that if they want to. So there's nothing special about it. So it's not like I'm living the lifestyle and all that crap. And he was making fun of it because we all know it happens. We all know it's there. And I bet you the people who are doing that, they know inside that they're doing something that's wrong. Like they're lying right now. And I bet it doesn't feel good. It does not feel good inside, right? So that's what I really want. I want you to honor that voice that knows when you're faking it, that knows when you're bullshitting, that knows when you're doing something that you know is wrong. And you don't necessarily, like with my drinking, I had to get around to it. I had to get, I changed my diet, I changed my workout, I changed all these things. And then like, it just naturally fell into place. I started to notice that like pay more attention to it. And it's like, oh, I noticed that when I'm drinking, I'm actually not really enjoying it. I quickly get into what happens when you start drinking is like blood alcohol level goes up, right? And then it starts slowly to drop, and that starts the craving, that starts to feel bad. It's basically kind of the hangover starting. And then you need more to feel better again. You need more and more and more and more. Like, that's just how that works. And I noticed that I didn't feel good. It didn't feel good while I was drinking. Certainly didn't sleep well, and I didn't feel good the next day. And I was like, okay, at this point, what's the fucking point, right? What is the fucking point? If I don't enjoy it while I'm doing it, I don't enjoy it, after I do it. And it costs money. And I think my brain is impaired. I can't think as well. What the hell is the point, right? So, not trying to make you quit alcohol. I'm just sharing my story there in terms of like that little inner voice that says, I kind of know what I need to do here. So, that's my message for you today. Just, listen to that inner voice because it already knows who you truly want to become. And so follow that and become that person, and everything else is going to fall into place. And you will be ready when you're ready. 10 years ago, I had this vision for all of that stuff. I wasn't ready. I wasn't the person. Now, 10 years later, I am ready. I am that person. I'm ready to go out and talk about these things. And I don't have to pretend and fake. It's not an idea. It's reality. It's how I live my life. It's what I've created. It's what I'm creating every day. And so I just need to show up and be that person. Completely different place. So that's what I want for you. And that's what I want to inspire you to do in your life. Be the person, listen to that voice inside. All right, guys. And then cherish this life, right? We never know when it might end. So just enjoy the hell out of it. Focus on love and being that person. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. See you soon.